we're going to create a new contact in HubSpot just by clicking Create Contact. We'll just give this contact brand new contact, mail.com, brand new contact. Obviously, you can fill out more fields here for this contact. I am going to tag the lifecycle stage as a customer because we have our workflow filter to only pull through customers, active customers in HubSpot. This filter can be changed, obviously, and you can change which type of customer or contact you want to pull through. You can even not have a filter at all and pull through all contacts if needed, but I'm just going to click Create. And here's our brand new contact in HubSpot. So now if I go into Data Blend and I run my Create Contacts workflow, just click Run. Shouldn't take too long to run. It's going to collect all the contacts from HubSpot, just those filtered by customer, and it's going to create the new contacts in Sage Intacct, and that is completed. So now if we go into Sage Intacct and we look at the contacts list, I'm just going to refresh this, and we should see brand new contact has just made it into the system. So easy as that, very simple to set up, which we'll look at next. So we are going to look at creating some workflows in Data Blend between HubSpot and Sage Intacct. And the first step for building an integration between the two is to connect both systems through the Data Blend credentials section. So if you go to the credentials area, click the Add button, you will see, depending on what you have access to, but you should see a HubSpot credential type and a Sage Intacct credential type. For Sage Intacct, you will need your company ID, a user ID and password, and a sender ID and sender password, which if you have your own sender ID and password, you can enter that here. Otherwise, Data Blend can provide those to you to be entered right here. For HubSpot, you will need an access token and refresh token, and this actually will auto-populate when, if I create this new, we'll call this new HubSpot credential and save it. There is a connect to HubSpot button where if you just click on connect, and if you're already logged into HubSpot, you just choose the company that you want to connect to. Otherwise, you'll be prompted to log into HubSpot here, and then just choose the account you want to connect to and authorize the connection. And then you'll be sent back to Data Blend with the access token, refresh token, all set up. And then you can test this just to make sure. That everything's connected. And we are. Now I'm going to be using. a Sage Intacct credential that I already have available to me. And you can see I have my company ID, user ID, and password all set up, and those are working as well. So the next step is to go to the Automate section, and within Automate there is a wizard where you can select your source and your destination. Our source in this example is going to be HubSpot, our destination is going to be Sage Intacct, and then you'll see there's a few different types of workflows you can build, and we're just going to go top to bottom. So starting with creating and updating contacts, I'm just going to hit next, and here's where you need to choose that HubSpot credential that you just set up. So if we look for a new HubSpot credential, select it. What this will do is then give you a list of fields associated with contacts in HubSpot. And you can see there's 328 different fields. Over on the right, it pre-populates with the required fields needed for this integration, which is really only first name, last name. But if you want to add anything else for the integration, this is where you would choose it. So say you wanted address, you can just click that, hit the arrow to add it to the right, and then it's good to go. There is a filter section as well. So if you click on the filter tab, you can see by default it's filtering by customer. So lifecycle stage equals customer. This can be changed or even removed. If you want to delete this by hitting the trash icon, you can, which will not filter by anything. You'll just pull over all contacts. Or you can change what type of lifecycle stage or even which field you want to filter on in the property section. And you can choose between these different operators as well. So if you want to be not equal to something or Any of these other options you can choose from. Right now we're just going to leave this default to customer, and that's pretty much all you need to do on this HubSpot setup step. So we'll hit next, and next up is our query setup. So this is more or less the mapping between HubSpot and Sage Intacct, and you can see the first name and last name get concatenated together here to create both the contact name and the print as fields. These are the two required fields needed for this integration. Now we did add address on the prior step, so what we're going to do is we're just going to map this to a field, and you can see there's address 1, address 2. I'm just going to map this to the address 1 field in Sage Intacct, so that that's populated. And you'll notice this little f of x symbol shows up as well. If you want to do any transformations on this data, this is where you would do it. Right now we're just doing a straight mapping of whatever comes over as the address data from HubSpot. It's going to load into HubSpot. But say you wanted to, add some sort of logic here, this is where you can do it. You can choose from all the various data blend expressions in this expression list. We have a whole knowledge base surrounding how these expressions work, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but you can do some transformations during this step. I will note that transformations can also be done afterward, after you go through the wizard process. So if you just want to go through and map everything the first time through, that's totally fine, and then you can edit things after the fact. So we're just going to hit next, and the final step here is just to choose our Sage Intacct credential, which we have already set up. So I'm just going to select that, and then you hit next one more time. And this last step is just going to show you what gets created in Data Blend. Basically, all of these objects in Data Blend create the workflow, also known as the integration between the two applications. So then you just hit create, and you can see it just goes down the list, creates all those things, and this is the final product. This is the end workflow between HubSpot and Sage Intacct for contacts. And you can favorite this workflow if you want, just by clicking the star. So then when you go to your dashboard, that workflow shows up right there. You can run this workflow at any time from your dashboard. You can go back into the workflow, and you can schedule this by clicking the presets. And there's different options for scheduling every certain number of minutes, every hour, certain times of the day, month, year. All can be set up here. You can also run this workflow right from here, and every time it runs you will see a execution state down below, whether it ran successfully or if it errored or if something happened. All of that will show up down below. So that is pretty much how you set this up, and it will be similar for the other workflows that will be shown in other videos.